Hi everyone, I'm Natalia. Welcome to my channel. Today, I wanted to share with you how I have been working with particularly three of them all together, the energies of Isis, Kali, and the energies of Wild Kuan. I personally always love videos where people share how they actually use all of these spiritual tools. It helps me tremendously. So if you know of any other channel creators who do that, please comment below. Let me know the channels. If you are one of those channels, let me know, because my subscription feed to people is very limited, and it's hard to find those people who talk about how they use the tools. Algorithms tends to bear them. So please share if you know any of such channels. So having said that, let's talk a little bit about the goddess energy, and let me set a table in explaining to you how I tend to work with it. So for me personally, I'm going to be honest, I don't often work with the goddesses or deities. I very seldom do. And I used to have, in the beginning, when I got into, not when I got into tarot, because I got into tarot when I was 16, but when I got into tarot decks via TarotTube and all of that stuff, my binge period, I acquired a few goddesses decks. So I had a goddess oracle by Olga, somebody, I think you all know, it's a popular goddess oracle. Then I had goddesses and sirens, and I had probably some other goddesses oracles. I realized very quickly they never work for me, because the way I feel it, it's too much of this very strong energy compounded in one deck, and without really knowing particular goddesses somewhat well in terms of their energies, it's very hard to me to work, because it's too much. I feel that goddess energy to me are very, very compact. They're very strong. They tend to be very energetically supercharged, and for that reason, I find that it's better for me to work with probably no more than 3 or 4 that tend to just feel resonant to me, to my energies, and then get to know them over a period of time. Ever since I got into, again, tarot YouTube, I'm going to just call it tarot YouTube because I don't know what else to call it, and metaphysics, and a little bit more into witchcraft and occult, which I kind of realized that maybe some elements of witchcraft are not really for me, but I had to go through that to figure that out. One of the energies of the goddesses that I was always driven to and gravitated toward is the dark feminine, what we call dark feminine. So for me, I immediately resonated with Hecate. I do have Hecate statue on my credenza, where I have all of my other magical tools. And I can't say that I really work with Hecate. I don't really put any offerings for Hecate. Sometimes I'll put some rose petals when I have them. I don't really sit and consult with her. I don't really talk to her. That just shows you to what extent my practice with these individuals, with these beings, with the supreme energies, is very, very limited. And over the course of the years, I realized that not only am I really resonating with the dark feminine, but I'm also realizing that over the past decade, 10 years, the goddess that has been sprinkling breadcrumbs in my life is Lilith. And I will do a video about this, telling you guys about it, and you're all going to laugh when you're going to see what kind of breadcrumbs she has been leaving for me, and how fucking blind I have been. It's really, really hilarious when you see all of the things and how they line up and how obvious they are in retrospect. So I think that I started up this Hecate, and I'll talk about it in the Lilith video, because it felt accessible to me. I resonated with death and rebirth and underworld and being a Scorpio a lot. And the Lilith goddess at the moment really scared me. And I think I was very resistant to her energies, but she was sprinkling stuff all over. Yeah. So, but today I want to talk about this particular Kali, Isis, and Wild Kuan. And although these are, in terms of energies, are somewhat resonant to me, they are not necessarily, I would say, fully in alignment with me, as I would say Lilith is, and definitely Hecate too. Although I say Kali is very, very close in alignment with my energies. So I'm going to be showing Alana Fairchild oracle decks. I have almost all of the Alana's oracles. I am a big fan of Alana. I think Alana really channels. She really channels things with intent. And I really like what she does. I really like the guidebook she produces. I think she's very thorough. I think she's an intentional creator. I heard before some people describe that Alana's goddesses, oracles in particular, feel as if they're one note, feels as if she's clustering all of these energies, all of these feminine energies into one divine feminine. And I really disagree with that, because when you work with them individually and you spend a little bit more time with them individually, you quickly realize that they're incredibly distinct energies. To me, they feel very distinct. They may all feel like essences of dark feminine, but to me, they're all very, very distinct energies. And the guidebook is distinct and the message is distinct. I think Alana's tendency to write, where she writes sometimes in a little bit more spiritual, I would say abstract form, lends itself to feel like everything is one note. But once you start working with them, I don't think it's one note at all. And another thing that I'm going to be doing, which I needed to see and I had a hard time finding on YouTube, what is exactly the difference between the pocket edition and not pocket edition? Is there really a difference? Because I ended up getting pocket editions, and by now I know the differences in them, so I'll share that with you as well, in case if you want to get this oracles and you're on the fence. I also know there has been some kind of YouTube, I was picking, I don't know exactly what it is, controversy or discussion or talk about Kali not being fully represented in this oracle, or Jimmy, it's Manson, right? Not Mason. I always say Mason like Charlie Manson, but it's not Manson. Jimmy Manton representation of them as being too sexy. I don't have that problem. I think, yes, let's give them, they're very, very sexually empowers them. I look at their sexual energies differently. I don't look at it as they're being objectified. I look at their sexual energy being depicted as their libidinal, instinctual, powerful energy. That's how I look at it. So they work for me. I like them. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so let me share with you. Again, with all of these goddesses, what I found for myself is that there definitely have never been a pull a card type of decks ever. And they are type of decks that will sit on my shelf until a time comes in my life where I feel something is about to shift, something is about to break, something is about to transform. They tend to come, or they tend to call me to work with them during those periods of time. So I see this goddesses energies as very strong guided energies. They're guides. They're there to help you. They're there to navigate you through this type of waters. That's how they at least show up for me. Recently, now let me backtrack. This one I had for a while, and I still have the glossy version. I know there's like a minute. Just getting all over the place. I know that there's a matte version. I still have glossy. I etched mine in black. I think everybody has seen this deck. It's pretty popular Isis Oracle deck. A lot of people use it. I had her for a long time, and I had a challenge connecting to her specifically. And it wasn't until recently when I started working with her in combination with Kali energies that I realized exact distinction between these two and how they show up in my life. But Isis was a little bit challenging for me to connect. I always felt like a desire to really resonate and connect with her, but I was lacking something. Energetically, we resonate, but not as much as I would say Kali. Kali is definitely much more stronger frequency for me. When I talk about resonating, I'm talking about, so with these goddesses, I think we have to be careful not to fall into the trap of over-identifying with them psychologically. What do I mean by over-identifying? What I mean is not to collude with the sense that, or not to have ego trip, if you will, that I am Isis, I am Lilith, I am Hecate, I am Kali. I don't think that me or we are, in general, this is just my view, I don't think that we are these goddesses. I think we all have potential to either already have pockets of representations of this energy, or have potential to develop the energies that they represent within ourselves if we allow for them to develop. So I think we have to be careful not to fall into that ego trip and over-identification, because at that point I feel the messages and the meaning gets distorted, because if I see myself as powerful as these goddesses, I'm losing the essence and I'm losing the gift that she's giving me. So Resonance is different thing. Resonance is, again, when you are able to see mirrored back to you resonating frequencies, if you will, of the energies that they have, that you also have within yourself, or that you want to have within yourself. I don't know if you guys remember, in a lot of my videos I talk about the difference between idealizing and devaluing anybody in our lives. When we idealize anybody, and I know that a lot of us sometimes can idealize these goddesses, how can we not? They're beautiful, they're powerful, they're supreme, they're supercharged. When we idealize these goddesses, we have to ask ourselves, are we idealizing certain essences and dynamics about them? And if so, is that because they have something that we recognize in ourselves but have yet to develop? And this is a great way to learn what you need to develop within yourself. When you're working with these oracles, when you're looking at them, when you're pulling a card and you see maybe an image, maybe you're looking at an image of Isis where she is just looking so dynamic and she's looking so powerful, and you say, God, I'm just really idealizing her right now. What is it that you're idealizing about her? Because chances are that's what you need to integrate, that's what you need to work on. So, and that's how I also work with it, by looking at what I idealize or what I devalue. There's some cards in both Isis and Kali Oracle that I see that I'm just like, I just don't like how this card looks. Okay, what am I devaluing about this card? Now, what do I need to also admit about this message here? So that's how I also work with them. But I think it's important, again, like I said, not to over self-identify, but to find resonance with this energies. So she came to me first. I had hardest time understanding until recently. And this one came to me, she's a recent one. I probably had her for maybe 2-3 years. I don't really remember. I'm edged mine. Again, everybody's familiar with this deck. And oh, God, look at this card, so gorgeous. I just love the variations of blue in this deck is gorgeous. And I have not been really working with her until recently, again, when I really understood her energy, and I also understood how and what resonates with me. And then the wild Kuan I had for a while. I had the glossy edition, but then there's now this like matte edition with crazy expanded guidebooks that I don't use it just too much. But I always loved, I think a lot of us do love the images in this deck. I think this is a very, very beautiful work of art. So let me tell you now, before I tell you how I work with them, let me tell you now the difference between pocket edition, H minor red. I have two. I also bought Wild Kuan in pocket edition, but I returned it. So the first pocket edition that I bought was this one. I bought this one after watching Racine, I'm so sorry, Owl Moon or Owl Moon Woman. I think a lot of you know Racine. She has a video on how to connect with Kali Oracle, really great. I think it's like 3 or 4 videos, part series. But she talked about also the differences between pocket editions. And she described this one as being very different than the full edition. She said, this is like a shot of tequila. And I totally agree. I think this is a great description. First of all, when I got pocket edition of this, the first thing I noticed for myself is that the images appeal to me way more in a smaller form than they are in a bigger form. And let me find this similar card here so I can show you why. I will tell you why. I think when they are on a bigger scale, for me personally, they feel very, Kali in particular is such a powerhouse. I mean, they're all powerhouse, but this one is powerhouse because she is all about destroying that which no longer serves you. And, destroying takes a lot of power to destroy something. If you're thinking about to demolish a tower, it's going to take a lot of energy to demolish a tower. And I don't know why, but when they are bigger scale, they didn't really come across to me until I saw it in a pocket edition. Something about the images being pocket size compresses the energy and holds it. It creates more of a container than this is being more dispersed. That's just how I felt it when I got pocket edition. Immediately, I fell in love with pocket edition just in terms of how images are seen, and I put away the large edition. Now, you get the message in the back of a pocket edition. This is, and I think a lot of us are wondering, because a lot of you might be thinking about the difference. Should you get the pocket edition or should you get the how different is this? The guidebook gives you a very big message. In the beginning of all of Alana's guidebook, there is this quick synopsis of the card. You may be wondering, is the synapses exactly identical? The answer is no. It's not. It's on some of the cards, it's somewhat more summarized. On some of the cards, it lends to more clarity. So for that reason, absolutely love it. I think Pocket Edition is just my favorite. I even seldom read the full description when I work with this. And I love this so much. So this is the difference if you're wondering to buy it. Now, Wild Kuan Pocket Edition, I bought and I returned it. I returned it because the synapses in the back of the card for the Wild Kuan was very, to me, felt incongruent with the messages of what the booklet carried. It was very different. It was not the summary of what she usually puts on the top. It just was, it was neither here nor there. It did not even match sometimes to the message. So I returned it for that reason. So I think Kali, unfortunately, for me as a Pocket Edition, does not work. Now, Isis Oracle is interesting because I wouldn't say this is like a shot of tequila. I would say this is more like a quick and to the point summary of what's in the booklet. A lot of times it is actually paraphrasing or summarizing what you already have in a booklet on the top. But I still love the Pocket Edition because I was just traveling to New York City, and I think I'm gonna, excuse me, sneeze. Traveling to New York City, and the Pocket Editions were great for traveling for that purposes. So now that you know the difference that I find between Pocket Editions and full size, let me tell you how I've been working with them and the differences I felt with these energies. Now, I found in this particular point in my life that all three of them like to show up, and all three of them like to work with me right now, because they all carry different support systems, if you will. Kali energy is, she's here to destroy. When I say destroy, I don't mean that she's here just carelessly to break things down. She's here to, especially I find her coming in when I'm resisting letting go of that which I need to let go. When I'm not resisting, she doesn't want to show up because I can do it, right? But when I'm resisting, she's here and she shows up and she says, no, girl, you know, really need to let it go. So she has this, sorry, I just got a text message from my mom. She has this strong destroying. She's a Tower card, if I were to look at the tarot. She's also a Tower that marries to a Judgment card because there's this resurrection, Phoenix rising out of ashes. Once she destroys, she is necessity. She is a rebel. She is the energy of deconstruction. She's the energy of breaking down. The reason why she resonates with me way more than any of these other ones is because in my career, I also tend to destroy, if you think about it, I'm a psychologist in the field of transgender field. So I destroy the preconceived notions and the ideas we have about gender and sexuality and about all these constructs and how we view our relationship to ourselves and identities. So for me, it's very similar. And it's interesting because I tend to do this in my other job. But in my life, sometimes there's resistance. So she shows up to destroy. And like I said, she's never one card pull a day card. Usually I'm feeling it. Like I can tell you right now, I strongly feel that whatever it is going to crumble next month, not this month. This month, I still need to do the work to massage my resistance muscle, but next month, whatever it is going to definitely crumble. So she's here to do that. And coincidentally, next, according to my year spread, next month is also a Tower card for me. So it's no wonder that she shows up. So when you pay attention, you notice all of the things. So that's her. I pull a card, and lately there has been two cards that have been showing up again and again and again. So she's telling me, slow down. She's telling me, pay attention to this cards. These messages that I'm giving you in regard to this cards have not been fully integrated. That's how I see cards that show up again and again. You're not really integrating the gifts I'm giving you, the lessons I'm giving you. Now, Isis is a great counterpart in working with this because this is telling you what you need to kind of learn to disattach to yourself, to let go. Isis energy to me is the magician. She is the magician in a sense of I'm here to tell you, to empower you to realize you have tremendous amount of access into your own inner resourcefulness. You are incredibly skilled and resourceful to get through this period. She's very, very empowering energy in that sense. I mean, they're all empowering, right? But different empowerment. This is saying, yeah, you definitely have the power to break it all down and then build it up. And she's saying, yes, you have the skill set and you have the power to do it, but it's more trusting yourself, having the confidence that you have whatever it takes to get through the ramble that is created over here. And they work so beautifully and well together, because this is, like I said, has been during this period very empowering me to even move past my resistances as I confront this. Now, you might be wondering, how the hell does this one come in? For a lot of people, wild Kuan Yin, and I used to have the Kuan Yin Oracle, but it was just energetically too gentle, too soft for me, didn't work. But the wild Kuan Yin, you're probably wondering, how does she place into this? Because for a lot of people, she's also very gentle energy. This one I don't think is gentle, but I don't think she's also Isis, nor is she Kali. The way I see this one is, this is a very creative, very potent, very let it go and allow yourself to see things differently, allow the new perspective to come in, allow yourself to experience things from upside down. In a lot of these images, as you've seen, she is in this odd position, she's flying up in the sky, she's flying up in the air on a ball. There's all of this a little bit odd things, and they're meant to be in that way, because it meant to be take you out of this reality in the sense of get creative with the reality you are in. Allow yourself to just go there. Allow yourself just to be, allow yourself to be a rebel in the sense of art form. She's great for me right now, because what I feel like is going to break down for me this Kali is going to be something in terms of artistic blockage, something in terms of career blockage in regards to arts. So for me, she's great, because then I pull the card and to see how I can move forward those artistic endeavors. And she allows me to be less restrictive, to be less constrictive. She allows me to be less rigid. She allows me to be more flexible and more free. This one says, get your hands off the wheel and just go ahead and fall. So this is more like a full card in a tarot deck. This is more like also Wheel of Fortune in a tarot deck. It's a beautiful energy, but I would never say that it's a gentle energy, because it's very difficult to allow yourself to fly hands-free or to drive without clinging to a steering wheel, right? She's about letting go of control and trusting the creative influx and outflux and the creative essences of the universe. And I think that's very, very hard to do. It may be even to some extent easier to break things that no longer serve us, because at some point you can't cling to it anymore. It just starts to be counterproductive to your life. But it is very challenging, in my opinion, to let go of the steering wheel that is navigating our life. So the three of them have been working beautifully as a pairs. I've been using them, I'd say probably like mid last month, and all the way up, they've been sitting here. I've been doing very slow process with them. Again, not a daily draw. I'll draw a card and I'll just let that card linger on my desk for maybe a few days. I've been surprisingly, journaling like crazy about the process because they've been giving me a lot of food for thought. And so far, it has been still very frustrating time for me, because I still don't know what is this that we're breaking apart. She does, and she's also telling me you're not ready yet to realize what it is. So I'm assuming it's something of a big magnitude. So if for the next month I go incognito, you guys all know that I'm probably lying somewhere on the floor in the midst of debris, doing damage control, which probably very much needs to be made. But this is how I work with them. And again, like I said, they show up to me when they need to show up. They're definitely not the energies that I worship or work with on a daily basis. They're too powerful for me for that. I don't really need that relationship with this much of a power dynamic right now in my life. A lot of my life is stepping into my power, stepping into my sourcing, stepping into my empowerment. And unless I really need them during the moment, such as what's happening to me right now, I like to get there by myself through growing pains. I think that's really important for our self-development. So Let me know how you work with them. Let me know if you have this text. Let me know what energies you perceive from working this text. Let me know how they show up below. If you want to do VR talking about how you work with these goddesses, please do. Like I said, I'm always on the lookout for creators who are talking about how to use these tools, how they show up. And it's always interesting for me to listen when other people talk about how these energies show up for them, what energies they get from the deck. It sometimes helps me clarify things for myself, helps me understand these energies better for myself. So having said that, I will do that video on Lilith if you're all interested, and how she's scrambling the breadcrumbs. I think you'll find it very interesting, especially once I'll show you what kind of breadcrumbs. I think you'll be looking at me like I'm some fucking idiot, which of course I am. We oftentimes have blind spots in those places when we need them the most. So I'm not surprised at all. And I will also do a video soon on the next books I'm reading, because I'm almost done with the books that I read last time, to share with you what my thoughts are on that. So anyways, all right. So let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.